share with you my thoughts on the X-T3. Of course, the inner tubes are all afloat with early reviews, and I don't want to pretend like I have anything amazing to add to any of that. But one question I get asked is, with all the incredible video features that are being shipped with it, does it become a serious contender to the a7 III? Now, just some background here. For photography, we shoot almost exclusively Fuji. But for video and hybrid shooting, which I do a ton of, I just can't go all Fuji. And guys, I really wish I could. I want to use just one system. It would be a lot less expensive, it would be a lot less gear to pack around, and it'd be a lot less cognitive load kind of switching back and forth between camera manufacturer UI settings. But there are 3 reasons why I can't, and I haven't been able to. The first is, I don't know why more people don't talk about this, but it's the no stored settings thing that Fuji has as a byproduct of their, the beautiful UI, but no ability to store or save settings. So just to give you an example, a hint of why I need/want saved settings so badly, with the a7 III, I have 5. I have a regular manual video mode. This is 30p. And then I've got, in number 2 setting, I've got my 60p, which I can slow down to half. This is for B-roll. And then I've got just the regular video mode, I guess, and that's like complete auto, pretty much, video mode, or I guess it's more like shutter priority, where I can kind of flip it onto myself and have the ISO take care of exposure because I can't see the back of the screen. So that's really nice to have for like vlogging. And then I've got my manual photography and my aperture priority photography modes that I switch between. And guys, I switch between these constantly, and all my settings are miraculously saved. But guys, this isn't a new concept. I just don't understand why Fuji doesn't make this available to us when they could. It's not like having dials precludes the ability to store settings. Now, I understand that there's a workaround here of sorts. Apparently, I've been told by a few commentators when I kind of criticized the XH1 for this, and I also heard the Fuji Canada live stream where, I don't remember his name, Billy or something, where he talks about this. Apparently with XH1 as well as X-T3, you have the ability to go to silent shooting mode, and that will store your settings so you don't use the dials to switch anything. And then you can use the joystick to kind of move between them. I haven't been able to test that because I don't have the XH1 anymore, and I'm waiting for the X-T3. So that's one thing that I'm excited to test. I know it's not gonna be the same. It's a workaround, it's kind of a kludge. It's not gonna be the same as just having a simple way to switch between them, but if it could kind of get me, halfway there, that would certainly be helpful and do a lot to help me feel better about being able to use this guy for video also. The second reason is that continuous AF on the Fuji system it hasn't been there for video yet. It's just not advanced enough. It's with the a7 III, for example, you get very natural focus transitions in autofocus continuous. It's much better than what I can do myself with focus pull because my background is not in videography. It's just so smooth and it doesn't miss focus. It'll focus right on what you need it to, and you can fine tune those transitions. So it's very mature as a system there, and it's very reliable. Fuji, on the other hand, it would not only would it just you can't fine tune that focus with video enough as much as I want. It's also it's not smooth, and it misses focus too much, especially I noticed when moving from, like, say somebody up close to focus infinity, it kind of struggled the XH1. I understand firmware upgrades have improved that. I'll be anxious to see how the X-T3 does with that. Extremely anxious, because I do rely on that. I'm not the best videographer in the world. I rely on the technology to get me there, unfortunately. So I hope Fuji can kind of help me out there. Number 3 is the stepped iris adjustment on the auto exposure modes. And maybe I wouldn't need this so much if someone would just give me a fully articulating screen on these new mirrorless cameras. I was so disappointed. I have to tell you, I was so disappointed that they didn't put the X100, the X-T100's kind of fully articulating screen, which I thought was so cool. I wish they could have just put that in the X-T3. I know that's wishful thinking. I knew they probably wouldn't, but As a vlogger, I would have wanted it. And now I know that most of you are not vloggers and you get tired of us vloggers talking about that feature because that's not something you care about. But even as a videographer, I really miss the GH5 for that reason. I would use that articulating screen all the time when, like interviews for instance, when I've got that camera, I'm the interviewer, I'm also the videographer. I like to be able to flip that screen my way and be able to monitor it in the course of the interview. For run and gun, quick and dirty, one-man teams, where you don't want some hefty, fancy rig, you just need to get in and get out like everything I do. The flip screen, it's really, really nice. And even if it was like an option, I don't know why camera manufacturers don't do that. Kind of like, here's the option that gives you the regular articulating screen and here's the one that gives you the, anyway, I would be a huge, I would buy it. But I digress. The point was that I need auto iris, right, when I'm pointing that camera right at me to not not have that stepping issue that the Fuji has for some reason where it's not smooth. And that's just it's been jarring, it's been distracting, and I can't use that if I want my footage to not look, well, maybe it doesn't look that great anyway, but I would prefer not to have the stepped issue. So anyway, those are the 3 reasons why I'm not ready to jump ship from the a7 III, and I'm anxious to see what the X-T3 does in each of those situations. Again, is that silent shooting mode enough to be able to switch between video and photos quickly? 2, do we have better autofocus? And 3, no stepped irises. Now, I don't have an X-T3, but I know some of you do, and in fact, Lee at Z Pro Media, he's one of my favorite kind of Fuji gear review guys. So look to him for a really solid review. I'm excited for that. He's promised that he'll have that out in the weeks to come. So Lee, if you watch this, I hope you do. I'd really be anxious to hear about those 3 issues in particular, if you have time. I mean, I don't want to impose, but if those 3 things get addressed, I tell you, I'd be as happy as a clam to sell this a7 III and just be all Fuji all day. Unlike a lot of you out there who keep reminding me that Sony's colors are garbage, I actually have no problem with the a7 III color science. Sony has clearly been working hard here, and I would agree with other reviewers who say that this iteration is very Canon-esque in the color science. Having said that though, I would just as soon keep consistency with everything that I'm doing Fuji, especially with the Fuji Eterna Profile and Classic Chrome, which are just, they're so good. I'm a big fan. And as you know, there's also the question of the size difference, particularly with lenses, as well as the really tactile Fuji shooting experience and the desire to avoid that cognitive load switching back and forth between gear manufacturers. But again, Fuji, I really want this to work. I really want it to work, I really do. But if it doesn't, I do have one more hope, one last hope, and that's Panasonic, the full frame camera rumor that we've been hearing. I mean, if Panasonic can give me like the GH5 that has the 4K 60p, that in-body image stabilization, and all of the other great video features that come along with that, along with the tilty screen. They can give me all that with the full frame offering with really good autofocus. I mean, that's gonna be it, guys. Unless Fuji addresses these issues, then we'll have to see. We'll have to see what the future holds. But finally, before we end, I just want to say one other thing that I'm slightly concerned about, and that's the whole X-T3 being made in China thing. Now, benefit of the doubt here, it's probably going to be fine and the same quality that we've got with the X-T2, but for me that's already slightly a concern because the durability of the X-T2 hasn't been, I haven't been way impressed with it. I mean, like where Nikon, for instance, the DSLRs, they feel like tanks, they feel like battle worthy. I feel like the X series has been a little bit more fragile. Things have gone wrong a little more. So anyway, that whole, I don't know, if they're lowering their standards and quality, that's a concern for me because I want Fuji to be higher there. I want it to be, you know, the pros can look at this with the same expectation of reliability that they do with the DSLRs that they're used to shooting with. And I'd like to see that personally. So anyway, just a concern, but no way to address that until, you know, we've shot with it for quite a while. But rest assured I will, you know, address that in months to come because I am so excited to get the X-T3 and to rely on it as my primary photography daily driver, I guess. But anyway, hopefully this hasn't been too boring for you. Hopefully some of you out there enjoyed it, and I'd love to talk to you more. Talk shop in the comments below. But in the meantime, don't forget the contest, and yeah, remember, kindness before cameras, guys. We'll talk to you again real soon.